Hey, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories Podcast, People Helping People. I'm Shara Goswick, your host. My guest today is Morgan DeNicola. Morgan is the executive director of the DeNicola Family Foundation. This foundation focuses on issues such as global health, humanitarian outreach, conservation, and cultural diplomacy. We talked about what it means to help people all over the world and about her travels and what she enjoys getting to do. But we also talked about how you can help people right where you are, how important it is to listen sometimes, to keep our mouths shut when we don't agree with the people around us. This was a great conversation. I really respect and admire what this family is doing. And, yes, it's a grand scale, but we can do work in our world right where we are. I think she had some great advice. She said that anyone can contact her and reach out to her if they have ideas of things that need to change and they want to see happen in this world. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you so much talking to me. You do a lot. Started listing everything, and you are doing a lot of work all over the world. And so I'm not exactly even sure where to begin, except to start with your family's foundation. I know that your family does humanitarian work. Y'all do all kinds of things. So let's start there. Tell me about you and about your family's foundation and how that began.
Okay, yeah. So I come from a family of serial entrepreneurs. My father and my mother have done so many different things. So I grew up in the business world, hospitals, technology, software, sports and talent management. They've done things with Chicken Soup for the Soul. So
Wow.
I grew up in a household kind of learning what it meant to run a business and to be engaged and involved in a lot of different areas. Um, and through the course of kind of watching them do that, they had always been really charitable, always helping out friends and family and doing little things here and there. So at a young age, we knew what it meant to give back because they were always telling us how lucky we were in life, and the more lucky you are, the more you should be contributing to everyone around you. So at a really young age, we were seeing them do that and kind of building their portfolio of businesses. And I came back from college because my brother was having his first child. So I kind of came back and went into marketing for them for their different companies. And through the course of that, my dad was starting to dabble a little bit more in philanthropy and joining a few different boards, and one of the boards asked him to take this trip to Africa that he wasn't able to go on. So he said to me, "I would like for you to go and take notes and kind of tell me what it's all about." And here I am sitting in my cubicle doing marketing, going, "Wait, you want me to get on a plane and go to Africa to an orphanage?" And, so I went, and it was a really interesting trip where they were trying to create better relationships between the orphanage and the villages around the orphanage.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit also, diplomatic, like, there was a lot of diplomacy going on as well as charitable, networking, and I fell in love with the world. Like, I just really loved the idea of diplomacy. I really loved the world of philanthropy, and being in Africa and seeing the needs and but still the joy and the different types of cultures. I came back and I said to my family, I I don't think I can be in marketing anymore. It's not where I'm supposed to be. I think I'm supposed to be doing more. And I am so lucky to have a family that is like, "You know what? We can be doing more." And, as I was trying to figure out I left the businesses and I was trying to figure out what that meant. Um, Eventually I got a call from my parents and they were like, "We need you to come over. We need to discuss something with you." And I thought I was in trouble, navigating. I was like, "What did I do?"
Right.
Um, and I went over there and my family said, "We see your passion and, your willingness to do this. We wanna create a" start out as a very small charitable group, and, I put my heart and soul into it, so did my dad. We were kinda learning as we were going, and it became really interesting, me and him working together because he came from, more that business way of thinking, and I had gotten a degree in education and, sociology, so I was kind of coming at it from a different angle, but the 2 of us together started to kind of create something really unique in the philanthropic world. And we grew, and then we decided to make it official and created the DeNicola Family Foundation. And now I'm lucky enough to be traveling the world and doing some really interesting things and trying to help all people, all walks of life.
Yeah.
So that's the original
Yeah, that's
story.
amazing. What a gift to be a part of a family that's able to do that. And I love how much you're all giving back because you didn't have to. You could be successful and have all these things and just enjoy it, but y'all really are giving back. And I looked up, tried to narrow down, all the things that you're doing, but you focus on world health, humanitarian recognition, conservation, and cultural diplomacy. That's a lot. That's a very
Yeah.
grand scale, of things that you're doing, but I think it's incredible. You said that you grew up watching them be serial entrepreneurs and have all these businesses. Was anything that they asked you to step into, was that ever intimidating or did it just seem normal because that's just what you grew up watching?
It was always intimidating.
Was that
Yeah, I was a very quiet, shy kid. I still have a lot of anxiety issues, and so being around two very successful people who grew from nothing. I mean, my parents came from nothing and built it all themselves and
wow.
learned how to do it themselves. That's really intimidating, and
Yeah.
whenever you go to try to even walk beside them. I don't wanna say follow in their footsteps, but walk beside them. It's this insane fear of failure, but
Right.
also, um, you also meet this other kind of side that's some people are like, "Oh, well, your family's successful. Obviously, you're going to be successful, or it's gonna be kind of given to you." So there's those 2 hurdles that you have to mentally kind of overcome and be like, "No, what I earn, I'm gonna earn on my own,
Right.
but I'm also gonna learn from 2 people who have done great things, who are great mentors
Yeah.
to learn from." But it was always very intimidating to be sitting in the same conference room as them or,
Sure.
following them anywhere they went. Yeah, it was intimidating.
I can imagine. We talked about cultural diplomacy. What do you think that means in everyday life for somebody that's listening right now?
Well, first, I wanna clarify diplomacy. Everybody thinks politics,
Right.
and I get that that's the first thought that we all think about, but diplomacy is relationships.
Mhm.
And it's really kind of your ability to be thoughtful, tactful, put yourself in other people's shoes, your ability to negotiate and kind of have that conflict resolution. So that's everyday life. That's
Yeah.
with your significant other, your parents, your kids, if you have kids. So I like to say that diplomacy is way more than politics. It's our interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the incorporation of the different cultures around the world. So it's utilizing these different ways of living life or perspectives and experiences to also make us more well rounded and have
Right.
an understanding where somebody else is coming from or why they are the way that they are, why they think the way that they think.
Sure.
And using that to, like, enrich who we are as people. So, that's diplomacy and cultural diplomacy are my joy. I actually love it because I think it teaches you superpowers of self-control and understanding and relatability.
Absolutely. I think that's so important. You said that you travel the world. What is a trip that maybe stood out to you that really was it the first one going to Africa or
The first trip to Malawi was, um I mean, my life completely changed to see kids. A lot of them have HIV or AIDS and would have to go through the treatment and they would get very sick from the treatment. And it never dimmed their joy. It never dimmed how thankful they were to wake up every day, and all they wanted to do was, play soccer with their friends and really be engaged with people, and it was such a warm place to go. Every village that I went into was so excited to see me and just show me their way of being in their life, and I've never been met with so many smiles,
Wow.
for in my life, and I would say that, well, for Africa, I've been lucky enough to go back a few times, and I think I'll be going back hopefully in February,
Wow.
uh, but I always, in a weird way, feel home in
Yeah.
Africa. It definitely is a rich, rich culture and wonderful people. So Africa, near and dear to my
Wow.
heart. I spend a lot of time in Italy. That's
Wow.
where my dad's parents are from. So I also always feel home in Italy.
Sure.
And the other big one for me that I didn't expect to be as moved as I was, but I was, Poland.
Wow.
Um, the history, the culture, there was a lot of moments when I was in Poland that I learned a lot, and was moved to tears a few times with the history
Wow.
that went on there and continues to go. But, yeah, I would say those are my top 3, but
Yeah.
I have a lot more planned, so hopefully that list will continue to grow.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it will. What is something that people don't really understand or realize about humanitarian work? This is something not everybody gets to do or is doing, but what is something people don't really understand about it?
I think that there's a lot of disconnect in the I talk a lot about mental health in philanthropy and charity because I think people don't realize that it is incredibly difficult. I think any job that you dedicate your life to service is
Yeah.
difficult. Um, but for me, in my personal experience in philanthropy, I call it the swinging pendulum. Because you will feel wonderful being able to help people. It's such an incredible feeling to bring joy or basic needs to people. But then you kind of come back down from that like high of helping people because every day it's nonstop and it's
Right.
continuing, that you will see people that that need so much just to live a productive and
Right.
life, that you can get very depressed and go into a very dark place, especially when you have to say no, especially when you see people that you can't figure out a way to help. So I think people don't realize that sometimes people in that world of charity and philanthropy go to some very dark places
Yeah.
and need a hand just like everyone else that they're trying to help.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be overwhelming with so much need that you're seeing and not being able to help everybody. I just can imagine. You're working with people, it's all people all over the world, and I know people have different opinions and not everybody agrees probably on everything. How can we work together instead of letting our different opinions and feelings divide us?
I think first we need to practice this. It's definitely something that doesn't happen overnight. My family and I still make jokes, because I was probably the most opinionated heart ever met in my 20s. I knew everything and better than everyone.
Yeah.
And over the course of
Mhm.
exposing yourself to people who view the world differently, exposing your people that you differ and practicing, that superpower of self-control by really
Sure.
actively listening and attempting to understand. I think this benefits us way more than we realize because it gives us tools. Everyone that we interact with that has a different opinion can teach us something, And I don't think a lot of people realize that. They'll hand you a tool in a sense. If you ever come across this situation, here's what I learned from it.
Right.
Even if you don't agree, it's something that we can have in our back pocket if we're ever in that situation. And it teaches us whatever our foundation is. The more you interact with somebody whose ideas are completely different, it tests your own foundation.
Mhm.
So if you don't get shook or worked up, it creates this deeper understanding of your beliefs, and it tests your resolve. So for me, sitting across from somebody that completely disagrees with me, but I'm able to maintain that calm and listen and understand, I know that I'm good. I know that I'm solid in what it is that I believe. But even if there's that moment of doubt, that can be a good thing because
Yeah.
that tests us in a sense, and it prevents the dangers of concrete thinking as groups, because when we get that way and we only surround ourselves with people that view things very
Right.
similarly, we don't see potential issues.
Yeah.
People at your table that view things completely different can say, "Hey, this might be a problem that's going to happen," and they can see things that you can't see, and it
Right.
really benefits us. But again, these are things that we need to practice and really, really become more and more helpful in our day-to-day interactions, because no matter what, even if you have somebody, that you love, your best friend that you're like, "Oh my god, we're so similar," there's gonna be times you're not, and you're gonna disagree.
Yeah.
So it creates this, but you still love that person, right? And you're
Yeah.
still like, "You disagree." It creates these better networks of communication and understanding and
Yeah.
patient tolerance, but it's just like going to the gym. If you wanna get strong, you start slow and small, and you build and you practice, and it should be a more practiced behavior because these are things we teach children, right?
Exactly.
How to get along, sharing, and understanding, and not so if we are teaching children to do this as adults,
We should be doing it too.
we should continue
Yeah.
the behaviors and realize we're all people that just experience different things. And I think that's something that we forget. These are still our neighbors that just have been through different life experiences, and that's
Right.
why we are the way we are. There are others, and that we need to be a little bit more understanding of what people go through, what they've been through, and a little bit of that. You have to give respect to get respect.
Right. Right. So you are helping people, you're working with people, but you are also working with other leaders. What is something that you have learned personally that has affected your own life?
The working with leaders, it can be incredibly fun because you get to see. I do these trips, where normally I'm with them for anywhere from 4 to 8 days. So you
Yeah.
really get to know somebody in that amount of time. You get to see them humanized. That even leaders have senses of humor. They are human. They are vulnerable. And I think when you see that, when you realize that any person you meet is the same as you,
Yeah.
uh, it gets less intimidating, and it kind of levels that playing field. I now don't get as overwhelmed walking into a room. I remember that these are people, and I find ways to get on the same level, to have an understanding of one another, and it becomes more fun,
Right.
um, to really see people as just everyday
People.
human.
Yeah.
They're really just people, and they're trying to figure it out the same way we are.
Right.
And I think that we need to go back to kind of humanizing one another, regardless of what we're doing for a living, what we decided to kind of go into, because
Yeah.
we all at the end of the day bleed and
Right.
cry,
Exactly.
laugh. Um, so I think that learning that over the course of meeting some incredible leaders and kings and the Pope and seeing everybody themselves as just human beings,
Yeah.
really allows you to connect deeper with everyone.
Sure. What about people on a much smaller scale that want to help, that want to make a difference in their communities? What would advice would you give to someone who says, I want to do something, but I don't even know where to begin?"
I think you need to find out what it is that lights a fire in you because that's really what becomes contagious. That
Yeah.
is what people wanna be around, so you have to find your passions. Like, we have our 4 passions that
Mhm.
those are 4 things that no matter what, when I'm doing one of I get very excited,
Yeah.
and, I think that everyone needs to just start with one, something that you are really passionate about, and then once you kind of narrow that down, get on Google. That is the one thing the internet is wonderful for. Start finding groups that are doing similar things
Mhm.
and kind of compare your thoughts and um, what you might do differently because I think a lot of people are very quick to think the only way you can contribute is financially. A lot of these groups need advisors.
Yeah.
Um, Ways to resolve or at least work with these issues a little bit different.
Mhm.
That's why I love to say I love working with the next gen philanthropists because we need new, fresh ideas to try to combat a lot of these issues. Doing the same thing we've seen, it can help,
Yeah.
but it doesn't help them. So be thoughtful. Don't just see what somebody's doing, but kind of critique it in a way and think of
Right.
ways might be able to be that person and bring an idea, uh, that could improve this
Sure.
system, and then when you have that passion and then those thoughts, figure out what it is that you can bring to the table.
Yeah.
Um, Time, supply, just those ideas. If you're
Right.
lucky enough to have that extra money, obviously, it stinks to have to say, but we do need the money
Absolutely.
supplies and things
Yeah.
like that. But, a lot of people don't have that, so it's more just engagement,
Mhm.
but I think the thing we forget the most is that human aspect. You just see somebody and making sure they feel seen and heard and that
Right.
having that moment of caring about another individual, I I think we lose the importance of that. That connection can really save lives and give people that will and that want to kind of keep going and, to keep moving forward. So, sometimes all a person needs is a smile,
Mhm.
having a door open for them,
Right.
have a great day. Like, these very small things really improve the lives around us.
Absolutely.
So I think that something as simple as that until you can find those other things, try to just be a
Yeah.
person.
Right. Right. Don't be a jerk. Just
Yeah.
be kind. It's not hard.
Acknowledge that you're having a bad day and maybe
Yeah.
just act with it, be like, okay, I'm
Right.
gonna pull myself out of this equation and not kind of keep this going. Because
Yeah.
we all have bad days. I mean,
Sure. We're human. Everybody's gonna do that.
every little contributions and to put joy into the world really matters and is a
Yeah.
great start.
Yeah, I love that. I've talked to a lot of nonprofit starters and people who volunteer, and volunteerism comes up a lot because a lot of the nonprofits, that's what they need is people to step in and give some time, and that's how they run. And so I think it's so important. And, I talked to someone who helps companies find and retain volunteers. And we talked about, she said, there's no excuse. You can say you don't have time. You can say, but everybody's got time to do something. And I agree with that. I think, I'm not working outside the home, so I'm able to volunteer and I love being able to do it. But people that work full time, I know it's more difficult. And I think there is always a way to give back. There's always a way to do something.
There's definitely always a way, and I agree volunteers are insanely important, but if
Yes.
something that's difficult for you, let's say you're an introvert.
Right.
"Oh, I don't really wanna be around people." There are other things you
Oh,
can do
sure.
around and collect blankets for an animal shelter where,
Right.
it you can keep your interactions with people kind of minimal. Like,
Yeah.
there are a lot of it's just about the finding the passion because that will
Exactly.
you to wanna do those things, but just doing something because it's convenient, you'll make up excuses as to
Oh,
why
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not gonna but find that passion and then
Yeah.
keep that kind of moving.
Absolutely. So I'm sure that a lot of this work gets very heavy because, it's a lot of needs. So what do you do to stay grounded? Like, what do you do for fun or when you just want to get away and be Morgan? What do you do?
Fun, what's that? No, okay. Uh, I I need to get away from social media. I
Right.
think that's one of the first steps because it is an algorithm, so the more you click on certain things, the more of those things you're gonna see, and you're gonna
Yep.
get that fatigue and really kind of overwhelmed. So, disconnecting to reconnect
Yeah.
is first very important to me. Second, I am an animal person. I also sit on the board of the Elmwood Park Zoo. So being around animals and nature is key for me, especially being out trees, grass, get outside. That really helps ground me and kind of help me reflect on what's going on. The gym. I think
Yeah.
people very really don't realize to keep your body moving, it will quiet your mind and
Yeah.
give yourself that break. So the gym is very important for those moments to get my brain very quiet. And the other big thing is I am a foodie.
Yeah.
I love food. So I got pretty big into baking and cooking when I need to shut my brain off
Yeah.
because I'm not focused on what I'm doing, I start a fire. So, it's a necessity for me to really kind of focus on the cooking and baking, and because I was raised, in an Irish but very Italian,
Uh,
household, food is love.
yeah.
So for me to be able to make something and, be like, "Try this," and somebody's like, "Oh my god, this is really good," and being creative is a lot of fun for me, so
Yeah.
you'll see on my social media a lot of me with my dogs
Yeah.
and a lot of me with pictures of food. Yes, I'm guilty of it. I take pictures, but normally I've created that, so they're
Right.
like
Little pride there. Yeah. As
yeah.
you should
uh,
be.
and I also just love a good documentary. It doesn't
Yeah.
even really matter what it's about. Just
Wow.
get a good documentary that I can kind of get sucked into and
Yeah.
go down a rabbit hole, whatever that was about. But, I think for a lot of people, especially having, uh, a lot of issues with anxiety and
Right.
depression, it's a trial and error to figure out
Sure.
what can do that, and I think a lot of people get kind of burnt out, and they're like, "Nothing makes me happy." There's stuff. There's always going to be something that makes you happy. It's
Yeah.
just years of trial and error.
Figuring out what it is.
What your game plan is,
Yeah.
but when you find it, hold on tight, having different groups of friends, ones that either you can talk to and vent about it,
Yeah.
or, ones that you can completely forget with. I think having your different crews and groups are also very important when you need to kind of reconnect and remember
Yeah.
why it is you do what you do.
Yeah. That's so good. Those are all very important, I think. There's so much that you're doing, and I'm gonna make sure to have your website and your information listed, but tell people how they can get involved, whether with something that you're doing or, just any advice you might have that I haven't talked about or asked you about.
Well, you can contact me directly. The DeNicola Family Foundation is actually or .com, sorry, is goes directly to me. So there's
Okay.
a you can fill out and it's a contact us. Tell us what you want to see in your community. A lot of people, I think, go in with ideas of what they want to do,
Yeah.
but I think it's very important to listen to the different communities and what their needs are. So message us and let us know what you would like to see done in your community. Uh, Again, I'm a place I love to hear ideas,
Yeah.
but also we do have a new rising, it's the Rising Star Humanitarian Award for kids.
Oh, wow.
So I'm asking for people to nominate kids that are showing that philanthropic or that charitable
Yeah.
instinct that they're already giving back to their communities. I would love to hear more about the kids out there that are naturally just doing it and wanting to contribute. We'd love to acknowledge. Um, and my personal Facebook, Instagram, reach out. I am a human being that loves to just say hi and get to know people. And if you just need somebody to talk to, I tend to be around if I'm not burning something in my kitchen.
That's so funny. I'm gonna follow you. I usually follow everybody on social media, but I'm gonna go follow you after this is over. So I thank you so much for talking to me today. I love the work that you're doing, your family's doing. It's so important. And what an inspiration for people. And be reminded to give back. We all need to be giving back somehow.
Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing and getting people's stories out there. It really matters.
I love it, and I'm honored to get to do it. I will be in touch soon, Morgan. I hope you have a
Thank you.
great rest of your day.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.